Sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device.
Oh, you did a good job. You did a good job.
My voice would have been better if it actually started at the beginning of the words that I was saying.
Well,
your voice doesn't start at the beginning of your word.
the voice.
You have
the good part of my voice, not the cracking.
You have to take the short delay
not
off
the
of
cracking, voice-changing 13-year-old voice that started that line out.
When it's time to change, then it's time to change.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, August the 4th, 2021. Jersey Johnny coming at you, and with me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete. Say hello, Mr. RadioPete.
Hello, Mr. RadioPete. My glasses are filthy.
You might want to clean them off.
I need to clean the rag that I clean them with. That's the
there
problem.
You go. That's the problem. Gotcha. Harry Lug Nutz will be along presently. He's got a couple.
Commodore 64 reboots.
As soon as his Commodore 64 reboots. No, he's having technical issues with his microphone. We were going to have him on anyway and just have him just like write down his answers and hold them up to the screen and we can read them. But we figured that might take a little too long tonight.
I might have a pair of semaphore flags here on the shelf.
That could work as well. I can
overnight to him for next week.
It works good, but it doesn't translate well to the audio podcast afterwards. So
No.
That would really be
listen,
difficult.
we could get a Ouija board and
we could do that. Or we can get an interpreter on for his semaphore flag.
Spiritually find out what he's going to say to us.
We could do that too.
With a Ouija board, yeah.
I
can't believe it's August, man.
I cannot believe it's August yet. This is ridiculous.
This is bullshit.
I did want to mention one thing. I might bring it up again later on at the end of the podcast with Harry, but I'll say it to you right now. MTV turned 40 this past Sunday.
I know. And
so I would like to personally thank MTV for 10 years of music. So
is that how long it lasted?
I didn't even think it was that long. But, it's crazy, though. I remember literally watching the instant it came on, midnight on August 1st, 1981.
What is on MTV now is my question.
Reality shows and rap. That's about it.
Because I can honestly say I don't think I've put on MTV in probably 10 to 12 years.
No, I haven't either. And the only thing the one thing that is decent actually is what is it? VH1 Classic. VH1 Classic most of the time is early MTV.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they took over the actual playing of music videos when MTV decided that they were not going to really do that anymore.
That they were going to go with more like a reality.
I think the last time I put it on, maybe it was, I think Road Rules. Was that one of their reality shows?
Yeah, Road Rules. Road Rules was one.
I think that was the show that was on, and I watched like 4 seconds of it.
Exactly. The last time I can remember consciously putting on MTV to sit down and watch an entire program, it was what was that game show that Colin Quinn was on with
Remote Control?
Remote Control, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's for you kids out there.
Kenny wasn't like the other kids.
A long time ago.
TV mattered, nothing else did.
That's right.
Yeah,
that was wow. And that was even like there was the first version of Remote Control, right?
That was the first version of Remote Control. Yeah, Carrie Rohr, I think, was the girl, the Vanna White of that show.
Yep.
Right, yeah. So, for those,
for
some
those
people
of
listening
you,
might not know who either of those are, so it doesn't matter.
For those of you that are less than 50.
Right. MTV
or even less than 40, you won't have an idea.
MTV used to play music. In fact, when they first came on, that's all they did. And now you can only catch the VJs, and only 3 of them, actually, on Sirius Channel 8, 80s on 8.
Right.
Alan Hunter, Mark Goodman, and
Nina Blackwood's still around, right?
Nina Blackwood's on
there, let's see how Martha Quinn is still alive, right?
Yeah, Martha Quinn. She's doing something on another Sirius channel. She was on there was the 4 of them on there, but she's doing something on another Sirius channel. Once in a while, she's got like a pre-canned trivia thing that they do on 80s on 8. So technically the 4 of them are on Sirius, but pretty sure J.J. Jackson passed away. So he's
and then let's see, of the later bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was kind of the original group, right? Of the later bunch, there was the Swedish guy, right, with the hair.
Yeah, I forget. Maybe Harry will know.
Adam, somebody.
Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hey,
now?
look at that!
Yay!
Yes, we can. Look at that.
We're talking original and second generation MTV VJs.
VJs.
And
The original VJs were Martha Quinn, JJ.
Keep going with the J's.
JJ Johnson.
Close.
JJ.
My
JJ
father's
Julio.
name.
JJ Jimmy. JJ John.
My father's name.
JJ Jackson.
There you go.
Adam. Allen with the mullet.
Shoots deer.
Alan Deer Hunter.
Right. Alan Deer Hunter.
Alan Deer Hunter. Yeah.
Alan Hunter. And
Blonde.
Nina Blackwood.
There you go. And one more you forgot.
Martha
Afro.
Quinn.
Afro.
Isn't that JJ Jackson?
No,
it's the opposite of an afro. JJ's hair.
Well, who am I thinking of then? A girl or a guy?
Guy. MG is his initials.
Well,
MG.
he had an afro, but
he did have an afro, but
he had the wrong color skin for an afro.
Yeah. Marvin Gaye.
Very close. Very, very close. Mark Goodman, actually.
Mark Goodman. Okay.
There you go. But we were also trying to figure out who the Swedish guy was with the hair on the second generation of
Max Edrum.
No, he was Adam. Adam somebody was the Swedish guy.
I don't know.
Right.
It was Kurt Loder. Kurt Loder did the news.
Oh, he did the news.
You had Julie Brown.
Downtown Julie Brown, right?
And who was the guy that hung on forever? The little nerdy rat face.
John Norris.
Eric Norris or
John
Norris?
Norris.
John Norris, yeah.
Oh my God, that guy was doing it when he was like our age.
Yeah.
I went to a show at Tramps, and the entire cast of, I believe it was the first season of The Real World, was there, along with Kennedy and who is the other?
Kennedy. Jeez.
Redheaded. Not Martha. She was like she took over for Kurt Loder with the news. She was like the nerdy one.
Yeah, I remember you talking about. Yeah. Jimmy, get on that. What's her name?
Yeah.
Who was the nerdy redhead that took over for Kurt Loder?
The nerdy redhead that took over for Kurt Loder. It's funny because I look at Jimmy this way, and you look at Jimmy that way.
No.
Well, you had Karen Duffy for a while there too.
Yeah, this is true.
Oh,
but
yeah, Duffy.
She wasn't as good a pitcher as Kurt Loder, though.
Mm-mm.
No,
Wasn't
her
she
ERA
like a
was really
former
high.
Model or something like that.
Possibly.
Yeah, I think so. Her and Daisy Fuentes.
Daisy Fuentes. That's right.
Oh yeah, MTV made her.
Yeah.
Right, I think that's what
there was a bunch in there, but I had said before you came back on, I'd said MTV turned 40 this past Sunday, and I would like to personally thank MTV for 10 years of music.
Yeah, the joke is 15 years, but 10 works.
10 works. No, because the joke is 15 years, but there was no way that there was 15 years of music on MTV. So.
Well, for the first year, it was 7 songs.
This is true. He just kept repeating them.
Yeah, but thanks to them, we all know who the Buggles were.
This is true.
I mean, pretty good band.
Yeah,
you know what? I will say this about MTV. They did for a time. They literally changed the way music, not the way it was made, but the way it was marketed. You know, I remember Billy Joel saying it in an interview. He hated that he had to make a video in order to sell records. It wasn't about the music; it was about the image. So
it did change it. Yeah, if you're releasing a single, you had to make a video for it.
And nowadays, he would film himself taking a shit in the back of a moving portalet to sell one album.
Well,
Well, whatever you got to do. You
I
know?
also think he doesn't need to sell another album for as
Probably
long
not,
as he lives.
Depends on how many more car crashes he gets in. Yeah.
This is true. So I got a question.
Who
for you.
was the blonde? Who was the redheaded? Well, you remember Matt Pinfield hosted 120 Minutes.
Yeah. This is true.
Oh, that's the guy with the eidetic memory.
And
He used to be a DJ on HTG in New Jersey.
Yeah, supposedly though, I thought he has like this memory. He can remember everything like that he's seen.
Probably
because you can see when he's like on trivia shows and they ask him questions, he like sort of stares off, and you can almost hear the wheels clicking in his head.
Yeah.
He like flips through his memory cards.
That's pretty funny.
But he's good. He knows a lot of stuff.
What was the second video on MTV?
Pat Benatar.
Yes. Would you remember which song?
Hit Me With Your Best Shot.
Nope, close.
Oh no, I know which one it is. It's
Heartbreaker?
Nope.
Love Taker?
No. Dreammaker.
It's not Love Is a Battlefield.
It is not. That was later. It was a couple years later. It was You Better Run.
You Better Run.
Mm-hmm. And Rod Stewart was the third song. The Who was the fourth song. But who was the fifth song?
Liberace.
Little Susie's on the Up.
Oh, God, what a horrible song.
Anyway.
Didn't Tesla cover that later?
Tesla did cover Little Susie's on the Up.
Didn't Tesla cover everything?
I think the Pretenders were... See, what it did, though, is that if you were an artist who had a video, it gave you national exposure that you... like the Buggles or... who's the other band? Well, Todd Rundgren, I think, was in there. But you had kind of weird 38 Special. I mean, nobody wanted to watch 38 Special, but they had a video.
They had they wound up doing a bunch of videos. Yeah.
Ananda Lewis.
But Todd Rundgren.
You're thinking of?
Todd Rundgren made that video, the Time Heals video. He made that on his own by himself on his Amiga computer. That was all 100% him. He did everything. There wasn't even a band. He just did all the music, and he did all the graphics on his Amiga computer.
Thanks, Matt Pinfield.
Anytime. Figured I'd tell you that. That's one of those songs when you hear it, for me anyway, it's like an earwig. I'll just sing it for the next 3 days constantly over and over again. Anyway, so sports. That's what we're here for, is it not?
I don't know.
I thought so.
Yeah, little MTV.
So the Nats traded everyone away.
Tabitha Soren. God, it just came to me. I don't think she's on the list of VJs.
Soren, yeah, she's not.
She was very nice when I met her.
What was her name?
Tabitha Soren.
Tabitha, no, first name. Tabitha, yeah, Tabitha Soren.
Become an actress.
There you go.
I think she became a pharmacist.
Oh,
became a DJ.
Here's a question for you, not an MTV question, but a host question on VH1 Sunday nights, the jazz program. Who was the host?
The most boring man alive, Mr. Ben Sidran.
There you go. All right, I knew you'd remember it, so I just had to say.
Yeah, Tabitha Soren became an actress.
Tabitha Soren. There you go.
Let's see. She was on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see her movies. Contact, Probably. Cable Guy.
That's right. She was in Cable Guy.
Did some writing too.
I think Carson Daly is still on MTV, and he knows it.
Listen, he's got one of the singing gigs, right? The Voice, isn't he the host of The Voice?
He's on everything. Yeah.
Carson Daly, yeah, he's everywhere.
I'll give Carson Daly credit. His late night talk show had some of the more, the more out there bands on it. That's for sure. He gave a lot of bands exposure that you wouldn't get on a lot of the other late night talk shows.
That's true. Yeah, then nobody else would have put a lot of those bands on.
Well, and it was always early on. It was the Jon Stewart show who did that a little bit for a little while, but then he did it for a long time. I mean, he was on at 4:00 in the morning, but still,
if you could stay up that late and slog through him talking on the show.
Well, and nowadays it's just people singing other people's songs. So
No, but I'm just saying
people don't have any interest in rock
bland
and roll.
and boring.
Well, yeah, he's Carson Daly.
Yeah, it was hard to sit through to get to the music.
Right.
Well, it's easier to sit through than Sunday morning.
Right. This is true as well.
Only because you knew that
Eventually there'd be a band on.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
So the Nats traded everybody away.
Yeah.
Scherzer, Turner, Schwarber, Lester, Gomes, Harrison, Hudson, Brad Hand.
Is this the most? This might have been the most active Major League Baseball
trade deadline.
And the Yankees still can't get a pitcher with an ERA under 5.
Right.
You don't need pitchers. You need occasional home run sluggers.
Occasional first baseman. That's
occasional first baseman.
Occasional first baseman.
The Cubs gave away everybody too. In fact, they gave away.
Obviously.
They gave away so much. This is the new sign at Wrigley Field right here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Changing it to a Spirit Halloween store.
Watch the Cubs are going to go on and win
the NL Central. That'd be fun. Just jump right ahead.
Didn't one of the Yankees' new acquirements hit a home run like in his first game? So
look, Rizzo's been a great acquisition, and the Yankees pitching, with the exception of their back end of their bullpen, the veterans in that has not been an issue. You had 3 rookies last night put in fairly good performances, especially the first 2 pitchers that pitched yesterday.
Yeah, Luis Gil was,
and they have to be able to beat these teams that they need to beat. You can't lose to Baltimore. You can't lose a series to Baltimore.
No,
you're gaining ground, and you're down 3-2, but with this new lineup, they should be able to. I was more excited about Rizzo than I was about Gallo, only because I'm not sure what Gallo really brings to the table long term. And the problem with Rizzo is that the Yankees have 27 people on the disabled list right now, and once Luke Voit comes back, he's the odd man out.
Right.
So, and by the way, to make space, they gave away 2 of their best relievers, and they didn't really get any pitching. So, we'll see.
We will.
And Rizzo just hit another home run tonight.
Lovely. So that's how many now in 5 games?
I don't
6
know.
Games? Yeah. But Luis Gil, he 6 innings last night. He only gave up 4 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk.
Oh,
6
and the
strikeouts.
6'8" guy who came in to also look good.
Randy something?
I don't know. Yeah, it's not. No, he didn't have a mullet.
He had no mullet there.
Well, it looks
Or a
like
big stash.
looks like they have, I guess, the final series of the year against the Rays, and it looks like 6 more games against Boston. So they have some.
Well, they're 2
ahead to make up some of that ground.
Well, they're 2 games out of the wild card spot, and to be realistic, that's what they have to get. However, you have an Oakland team who made some good moves, and a Toronto team nipping at their heels who also made maybe the best moves, with the exception of the Dodgers, which, let's face it, the Dodgers are the new Yankees. What they want, they go get, and they seem to have a pretty good selection how to do that. Oh, by the way, we're going to get the most coveted pitcher, and as a bonus, we're going to throw in arguably the best shortstop the last 3 years in Major League Baseball. And yes, that's who he is. To fill in for a shortstop who won the World Series MVP last year.
Right.
And yet they're still not in first place.
And yet they're not, exactly. And that's going to be a problem for another team coming up in a couple of weeks. But we won't go there just yet. To key on the Yankees really quick, though. Pitching obviously is an issue now because Cole and Montgomery are out they're on a 10-day IL for COVID. But Severino did make a rehab start yesterday in Somerset, and he threw 2 and a 3rd innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, gave up 1 home run, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. But he was throwing 95 miles an hour off the hill. So,
look, Montgomery was in Townland up until tonight, were the Yankees' 2 best pitchers this last month, at least starters.
Right.
If the Yankees are going to win the games that they need to win, then Zach Britton and Aroldis Chapman have to live up to what they're getting paid for. And quite honestly, I have no confidence in either of them.
And I don't think many people do.
And if you get a 2 runs, 8 inning outing out of your 2 or 3 pitchers, including your starter,
right,
you got to be able to lock it down, especially against teams like Baltimore. And I don't know. The Yankees, they've definitely filled the gap with some good players. They just still have. When your biggest acquisition since A-Rod is a maybe,
right.
maybe he'll play. Then your decision making has to come into question.
It's just funny though, because like the Yankees are 57-49, and the Mets are 55-51. So the Yankees are 2 games ahead of the Mets,
right?
And everybody's looking at the Yankees like having a shitty season, and the Mets are having a great season.
I would say the Mets are having a great season.
But better in the minds
the
of
Mets are kind of
fans,
close to where you would expect the Mets to be.
Right.
I thought they'd maybe be a little better, and I think if injuries have decimated the Yankees this year,
right.
That's not an excuse,
right.
but it is certainly
a
reason. And I think Toronto and Tampa are just as good as everybody thought they were going to be, but I don't think anybody really expected the Red Sox to turn around as quickly as they did.
Yeah.
And other than the Astros, they might be the best team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want to face? Come playoff time, I don't face any of those guys. And Oakland's no slouch either, and they're ahead of the Yankees right now in standings. Yeah. So is it a guarantee that this is going to help the Yankees? If you score 14 runs one game and then can't score more than 2 against the Orioles the next, you can't carry them over, so it doesn't help you.
No, it doesn't.
You can't just win series. You got to win series against Toronto. You got to win series against Tampa Bay. You have to sweep series against the Orioles of the league and the Miami Marlins of the league. And that's the problem.
This is true.
We're going to have a few chances to do that. I mean,
and speaking of a team that should have swept a couple of series over the last couple of weeks and few weeks that they didn't. Did you see? Well, I mean, last week we debuted the new logos for the Cleveland Guardians of next year, but the Mets actually came up with a new logo too. Here it is, right here. That's the Mets logo right there. For those of you listening to the audio podcast, it's a poop emoji with a Mets hat on it. So
it's a very happy looking poop emoji.
It's a very happy looking poop emoji.
That's part of the problem. They should not be happy.
They shouldn't.
By the way, there is no one who has used more poop emojis over the course of the last 4 years than our own Mr. Johnny.
Yeah, there you go. This is the poop emoji that they should have right there. Yeah. That face right there.
Right. Instead of smiling and happy.
No smiling, any of that.
4 games over 500. When you're so goddamn happy.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. Well,
I guess they're happy because they don't have to worry about Washington that they really did. But
right. Well, here's the issue, right? They're right now. Last I checked, anyway, it was 3-0 Mets. So I mean, that's at least where it should be. But they can't beat the damn Marlins. How can you not beat? How can you go and play the Brewers and play them hard, and then play the Padres and play them hard, and then go to the Marlins and just lose and lay down? It's just insane. I don't know. Is it just the same old playing down to the level of competition or up to the level of competition?
Sometimes it's matchup. Sometimes it's also where your rotation falls. If you're stacking your rotation to match up against a better team, sometimes you fall a little short in that. That wasn't necessarily the case this last couple of games, but
right.
The Marlins are 5-5 in their last 10. The 2 best teams in baseball the last 10 games have been the Milwaukee Brewers and the New York Yankees. The Yankees are 7-3. They should be, 9-1 over the last 10 games. And the Mets are 3-7. They're in a little bit of a slump.
They're in a big slump. Let's look at that.
Sometimes there's just that team that's got your number, Well,
let's look at the Mets record month to month really quick. April they went 9-11. May they went 17-9. That was their best month right there. June 500 ball, 15-15. July they went 14-13, and so far they're 0-3 in August. They're 8-12 since the All-Star break, not including tonight, obviously. And they've lost 5 of their last 6 games. It's just ridiculous. The offense is so anemic. It's ridiculous. With the bats that they have on this team and how they're hitting in the lineup and where they're hitting in the lineup, what these bats are capable of doing. They should be walking away with a lot of these games.
Right. I mean, they're not. And this is across the board. So I think you have to wait to the end of the season to really make a final determination about this. But a lot of really good players are having down years, and I don't think that's a coincidence. But the Mets batting averages are down across the board, but the Mets are not really. It's about timely clutch hitting,
right?
And both the Mets and Yankees suffer from this a little bit. I will say Rizzo has sort of sparked them a little bit. And the Mets version of Rizzo has been their most consistent player. Pete Alonso's hit what is he hit 260, but he's probably got an on base percentage over 35, 340. I don't know. You don't expect Francisco Lindor to hit 228,
no.
or whatever it is that he's hitting.
I'm not expecting him to hit anything until September at this point,
right? But you know what I'm saying.
No, I know what you're saying. I agree with you. It's just stupid. But I mean, the Javi Baez and Trevor Williams trade. I think it was decent for the Mets. Some people bitched about it, but for just to give up Pete Crow Armstrong, who had surgery this year anyway, he was a rookie and a prospect and at least 3 years away from the majors, and a draft pick. That was a good deal. And Baez wants to play here and said he moved to second. So. But his
hasn't played yet though, right?
He's played. He's played every day since Saturday. He played on Saturday, but had a home run on Saturday. Was part of winning the game. He's
hitting 133.
Yeah, it's since he came up, it's ridiculous. He's a strikeout king, but he puts the bat on the ball a lot. So
listen, the Mets are like 28th. They're 29th in RBIs. They're like 28th in runs. 29th in hits.
Their offense sucks, and yet they're still in
25th
first place.
in home runs.
They're absolutely it's ridiculous. They're over the 11-game homestand they just had. They came off of before they went to Florida. They were hitting 254 and 2.7 runs per game. 2.7 runs per game for the whole 11-game homestand.
I mean, they just need DeGrom to get back, not for his arm, but for his bat.
For his bat, exactly.
Now, they don't strike out a lot, so that's good. They're down in the bottom 4 or 5 there.
Right. But
yet their on base percentage isn't that high. So
they're 3.8 runs per game. That's 29th for the season. They're 3.8 runs per game. That's 29th in the league. But
on base is their middle of the pack, 314.
There you go,
17th in the league.
But what's weird is it's the offense is very, very anemic. They really need to bring that around. Brandon Drury's actually been hitting pretty well. He went as of Saturday. I know he's up these numbers, but I had these stats as of Saturday. He was 11 for 15 with a 733 batting average. 4 doubles, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs with a 2.133 OPS.
Yeah, he's hitting 308.
Yeah. And last night they left him out of the lineup to put Conforto back in, who's hitting 103 for the month of last 13 games he's hitting 103. He's put 196 as his season average right now.
I mean, look, you took a lot of chances on some guys who were question marks, whether it's age related or performance related or bounce back from injuries. But, Lindor has been a disappointment, obviously. The injury doesn't help things. McCann, solid behind the plate, but, I guess you're getting what you thought out of him.
He's hitting up.
He's got 22 RBIs and he's hitting 250. Okay, we'll take that. But Kevin Pillar is kind of on his last leg and barely over 200. Villar's hitting 230 something. Conforto's under 200. So it dropped.
A huge disappointment.
And Nimmo is
it's a contract year for him.
Right.
Which clearly tells me he's going to accept the Mets 1-year qualifying offer next year and try and do better.
I think you have to be pretty happy with Brandon Nimmo. Yeah. And there's some younger guys. I think that the Mets are like the Knicks with the ability to get an actual free agent to come to them and compete. Look, if they can hold on to the division, it puts them in a situation where it benefits them in a playoff situation. And, then it comes down to a couple series. And with their pitching, you have to say they're a team built for the playoffs.
Right.
if they can get there, and if some of these guys who are perennial all-stars can start to get healthy and play as if they are. And that's a big if. You never know.
Yeah,
it is.
And it's August already.
It's August.
Yeah. As far as arms go, they everybody was calling. They wanted Berrios from the Twins, right? But apparently, allegedly, I should say, the Twins wanted at least Dom Smith and shortstop prospect Ronnie Mauricio. At least those. And
I mean, other than the Dodgers, I think you have to give the Blue Jays, props and what they were able to add some pretty nice pieces. I mean, a lot of teams did. I wouldn't grade the Yankees horribly because they did add two former or future or current all-stars to their lineup, and they got some left-handed hitting, which obviously, at least for one of them, is starting to pay off a little bit in Yankee Stadium. But I think Toronto did more to bolster their chances, and I think Boston's in a little bit of a slide. I don't expect that to last. It's going to be hard to jump past these teams, and it's going to be hard to stay ahead of a Toronto or somebody else who's nipping at your heels. So the Yankees have their work cut out for them. There's no guarantee. Rizzo at best is a long-term acquisition if they can re-sign him. At worst, he's a really good rental for this year. You got Gallo on the hook for another season. We'll see. Some of these younger pitchers, maybe they pan out. Maybe this is a way of moving some guys into, some action where the games count and see what they're made of. The other thing too is that a pitcher's never going to have a better chance to be good. In his first outing, nobody's seen him before, so that gives you an advantage against the hitters.
That's an advantage in that game. Yeah, we get to the second, the third, fourth time somebody's going to see them or whatever.
Yeah.
Even if team's not seeing them, they got film on them. So yeah,
right.
They can scout them. So, but as far as arms go, the Mets got Trevor Williams. Now, granted, he's not an ace by any means, but he's an experienced major league pitcher, and they sent him right down to AAA, and then they roll out Eichhoff. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. And
especially at a time when your ace is out, right?
Is out, right? Yeah.
And Syndergaard is. Would we be surprised if he doesn't come back this year?
Sounds that way.
I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't come back this year. I think if he's going to come back this year at all, you're going to see him in a bullpen role, an inning here, an inning there.
Yeah. So, not that I was expecting him to be in the rotation in June.
Right.
That was, but he's been throwing, but it's August now, and
he was throwing off a mound last week. So, but he's still going to have to make rehab starts. He's still going to have to ramp his innings up, and it's too late in the season. I think it's too late. Like I said, if you're going to see Syndergaard at all suited up this year, it's going to be in a bullpen role.
All right. So, but Carrasco's just coming back, right? Making his
this is second game today. Yeah.
So
he looks good so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So two of what you thought were going to be, maybe one was obviously you're going to be your ace, and the other you were hoping was going to get back in time and be back in some form that he was as far as Thor goes. Those guys are out right now, and Carrasco's your ace.
Yeah, Carrasco's.
Right?
Walker,
anything.
Stroman's going to want them to consider him the ace, right?
Yeah. Well, pitch better.
Yeah, exactly.
And look, as far as I'm concerned, anything you get good from T1 Walker is fine.
Yeah, Walker's fallen off a cliff. He was pitching great before the All-Star break. Went out to play in the All-Star game, pitched one inning, gave up the home run to Vladdy Jr. and he sucks since.
But he's a kid, right?
Yeah, not really. No, he's up there. He's 28, 29. Yeah, he's been around.
All right, he's not that young.
So, but what's funny is though they did get Hill, Rich Hill. They picked him up last week. Or earlier, I should say, the week before.
The lefty Rich Hill, or is this another
Rich Hill from the Rays?
Oh,
okay. Rays. He played for the Dodgers for those years, and he was on the Rays this year. And he actually, I think he was in with the Twins at the end of last year, and then or earlier this year. Anyway, they got him from the Rays, but he's actually. This is a funny stat I saw. Mets actually have two of the top 6 pitchers with the lowest ERA since 2015, with a minimum of 600 innings pitched. Clearly, DeGrom's number 1 on this list, tied with Kershaw, actually, with 2.47. Scherzer's number 3. Verlander's number 4. Corey Kluber's number 5. And Rich Hill's number 6 on that list. It's so But that also means that the Dodgers have two of the top 6 too. So, and the Yankees. Well, what's up with Kluber? A lot of these guys are out.
Well, who knows? I mean, everybody's just taking their sweet ass time rehabilitating and getting healthy. But the one interesting thing, I'm looking towards next year because I just don't think this Yankee team has a championship pedigree. But I think there's a good chance that I don't know if the Yankees will be able to afford Rizzo for long term. If he's a fan favorite already, and they might sign him. And if the problem is, I don't think anybody wants Voit right now. And I'll be honest with you, I would take a chance on Voit if I was a team who needed a first baseman. I would argue I would take a chance on him no matter what. Which then gets back to the situation. The Rockies did not engage in many moves. They kept their two best pitchers. They kept Trevor Story. Charlie Blackmon's still here, and so is John Gray. So, in the offseason, do the Yankees still go after Trevor Story, or does this move that the Dodgers made with the Nationals, does this make Corey Seager available? And how intriguing would that be to see Corey Seager as a Yankee next year?
Well, for some reason, it tells me that these moves and everything else, the Dodgers, for some reason, they have.
They want to win now.
And every year, so their payroll is like $75 billion, and they're paying $30 billion. And
Seager's, I think it tells me Seager's hurt more than we thought he was.
Well, yeah, obviously, but it would not surprise me for the Dodgers to keep them both on the damn roster.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right though.
Diaz?
It's a good problem to have.
Diaz went on the paternity list today.
Edwin Diaz went on the paternity list.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Is
he pregnant?
His pregnancy test came back positive.
He's pregnant.
I guess so. I might explain a few things. Now, remember a few years ago, didn't Daniel Murphy do that?
He did, yes.
Daniel Murphy his wife was having a baby, and everybody was in fuego about it because he was leaving for a couple of games.
Leaving for a couple of games to go on the paternity list, yeah.
I mean, DJ LeMahieu took time off for his. I mean, yeah.
It's we can all be up in arms because we want to watch the games, right? This is their job.
I have no problem with
this. Is their, it's
just don't deliver during the Game 7 of the World Series if you're scheduled to pitch,
or have a C-section 2 days before it.
Well, listen, I'll say this: at least his wife was nice enough to, most likely have the baby when the Mets are slumping.
There you go. There you go.
Right, they suck, so fine. Right. Take a few days off. Get a couple less innings on the old arm there.
So, and I will tell you this though. You're talking about the Blue Jays making some moves, and obviously I'm going to go back to the off season with Springer, right? 41. He hit his 41st leadoff home run the other day. Right? Excuse me. He's in first place, if you will, with leadoff home runs of active players.
Sure.
Charlie Blackmon's actually in second with 36 leadoff home runs. But here's a little trivia for you with this. Who has the most leadoff home runs of all time?
Ricky Henderson.
Ricky Henderson, 81. Who has the most leadoff home runs in a single season?
Altuve?
Nope.
Give me a hint.
Was it a Yankee? Wait, is it
a long time ago? Or
I'll give you the year. How's that? I'll give you the year. 2003.
Okay, so is it what's his name from the Red Sox?
What's his name from the Red Sox?
The guy the Yankees signed that
Ellsbury?
Ellsbury?
No.
Wasn't Johnny Damon.
Is it a Yankee?
Well, not now.
You're talking.
When it happened, was it a Yankee?
It was a Yankee, yes.
So it
wasn't Brett Gardner, that's for sure.
Not Brett Gardner.
No, the guy.
Oh, Robbie Cano.
Nope.
Maybe you're getting closer though.
It was the second baseman though.
Before Robbie Cano, the second baseman before.
Yeah,
he hit
Chuck Knoblock.
No, after Knoblock before, yeah.
Right, he went 80-80 home runs and steals in his first two seasons.
He hit
13
Alfonso
Alfonso
Soriano.
He hit. That's right. I always think of him as a second hitter, not a leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
Because he batted second a lot of his career too.
Alfonso Soriano hit 13 leadoff home runs in 03. He's got the record for that. So anyway, just to wrap up.
He was a good player.
Hell of a player his first 2 seasons.
He was. To wrap up this some of the Mets talk here, the Mets really got to get off the get on the stick, I should say. They got to win tonight. They got to win tomorrow. They got to win this weekend. They got to do the job in Philly against Philly this weekend. I think they play the Nationals Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday too. They really need to rack up some games because after that, 2 weeks in a row, they're playing the Dodgers twice and the Giants, and the Giants once and the Padres once, or the Giants twice, one of those. But so they gotta if they don't want to be buried back into third or fourth place in the division after the next 2.5 weeks, they better win some games over the next couple of days.
Yeah, they got Jesus.
The Phillies right now.
Phillies on a day off, 3 against the Nationals, then 3 against the Dodgers, 3 against the Giants, and 4 more against the Dodgers. Without a day off.
Without a day off. Yeah, ridiculous.
And then a day off, and then 3 more against the Giants.
The Giants, yeah.
So 6 and 7 against those 2 West Coast teams.
Yeah. It's They better win. They better literally win today, tomorrow, and they better sweep the Phillies and the Nationals if they want to stand any chance of holding on to first place beyond 3 weeks from now. But whatchamacallit, the Phillies have been on a tear since July 1st. They've scored 157 runs. They're second behind the Dodgers. Wheeler, he has 14 starts of 7+ innings that he actually went 7+ innings. That's most in major leagues. And Harper's been on a tear too. So I mean, they better do something. They better do it this weekend, and it's not going to be easy because they're playing Philly in Philly, and Philly's on a tear. So that was my point with that. So anyway, well, again, it's
let's see who the Phillies have coming up.
All
right, so listen, they got the Mets, then they got the Dodgers for 3, then the Reds. Oh boy, then the D-backs.
Yep.
Then 3 against the Padres, and then they got to take on Tampa Bay while the Mets are finishing up against that second series against San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly.
So they've got
the Phillies lined up to be able to overtake the Mets within the next week, and then gain some ground on them beyond that.
Yeah, it's 2 against Tampa Bay, and then 4 more against Arizona.
The Diamondbacks,
2 against Washington to end the month. So
And right now the Phillies are leading the Nationals 6-3 in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, it could be.
And they finish their season against the Cowboys in Dallas.
By the end of August, the Mets could be in 4th place in the division.
The Mets, they could be in 3rd.
Maybe not 4th. Yeah, the Nationals gone. You
know what? Washington's only 7 back in the loss column.
Yeah, it's true. So,
but how are they going to win?
They don't have anybody.
So.
They got Juan Soto's not going to bat 9 times an inning. Not nine spots over their rotation, I should say.
No. I don't even know who their pitchers are. So
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
Juan Soto's
they'll probably take 2 out of those 3, right? Yeah. After that long stretch is done for the Mets, we go, phew, at least they got the Nationals for a couple of games. But they'll be beat up and exhausted and demoralized. Yeah. Exactly. And Washington will win 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3, of course.
They'll be like, "Hey, we're a bunch of kids that have nothing to lose. Let's go out and beat up on the Mets while they're down." Yeah. By the end of this month, that could be it.
Yeah, it could be.
It'll be over.
And it's happened before. We've seen it happen before. Usually in September, though, not in August. So.
Nice August collapse for the New York Metropolitans. Great.
So anyway, all right. Quiz time.
Sure.
Quiz time. There we go.
Quiz time.
All right. Who's first? Pete, as usual.
I always go first.
All right. Today you're the GM. All right, not the manager. You're the general manager, the GM. At their best, you need to hire a manager for your team.
Oh, Jesus!
You got to pick one of these.
Let me get my darts.
All right, I'm leading you here. Here you go. You'll see the pattern when I get through this. Here we go. So you're the GM. These managers are at their best. You got to pick one of them. You got to hire one of them. Here we go. Terry Collins, Bobby Valentine or Yogi Berra? Who do you hire? So, Terry Collins brought the Mets to a World Series but did not win it. Bobby Valentine brought the Mets to a World Series but did not win it. Yogi Berra brought the Mets to a World Series but did not win it. And all three of them were good teams. Terry Collins probably had the weakest team. But
Yeah, I'll take Terry Collins.
yeah.
I think Yogi won. He pretty much had battering rams for teams, and
Gotcha.
Valentine, I don't know, just rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Yeah, I'll take Collins.
Terry Collins. Harry, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, Yogi was kind of a 500, maybe a little over 500. I'm guessing. I could be wrong in his years as a manager.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he had a pretty good year with the Yankees, but then what year did he take the Mets to the World Series?
73.
That wasn't even that great of a team.
It was a pretty decent team. They still had good pitching.
82 and 79.
And they went but they went to 7 games.
Right.
Against the A's.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know enough.
So.
I'll take Peter Collins.
Peter Collins.
The British.
Phil Collins.
I'll take Phil Collins.
Phil Collins. How
about Joan Collins?
Yeah. Joan Collins would be fun.
I'll take Tom Collins, actually. Give me a few of them, actually. I'm a little thirsty. Anyway. All right. So Terry Collins.
Yeah.
I personally, of those three, I'd take Bobby Bay. I know he rubbed people the wrong way, but he got the guys to play well.
Yeah, that was an enticing choice.
So, all right, Harry, you're up. You're the
All
GM. These managers are at their best. You got to hire one. Here we go. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Buck Showalter, Bob Lemon, or Yogi Berra. Buck Showalter did not take them to a World Series, but pretty much actually could have in '94 with the strike year.
Right.
And had a great team the year after that.
He set the table for Joe Torre.
He set the table for Joe Torre, absolutely. Bob Lemon won a World Series and lost a World Series.
Well, he won the World Series in '78, right, and lost in '80.
Lost in '81.
Yeah.
Yep.
He wasn't there in '80.
He wasn't there in '80.
That's right.
Yeah. And Yogi Berra took the Yankees to a World Series in '64, but lost it. So.
Well, obviously that '64 team probably had the most talent of any of these Yankee teams. Although Bob Lemon's, because Lemon's the one who took over in '78, right?
Lemon took over halfway through the season for
just for that reason alone, I'll take Bob Lemon.
Bob Lemon, Pete.
Yeah.
Pete.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Oh, you weren't moving. I thought maybe you were frozen.
No.
Or just fell asleep.
I'm thinking. Who was the first guy?
Buck Showalter.
I'll take Buck.
Taking Buck.
I know he didn't win it, but
there you go. But you're right. He did. Buck did. There's intriguing choices, and it's funny that Yogi Berra was left off of all of our choices on both lists.
Well, you can't.
I know.
I mean,
how many awards can one man win?
Back in the day, I mean, of any of I would definitely. I think that Lemon was
he
the most flexible of all of those two.
He got the Yankees, and when he took over for whatchamacallit, Billy Martin in 78. He got that team to what I think they went 42-10 under him going into the playoffs. So he knew what he was doing. He also
had a team that the year before was one of the best teams.
But Billy Martin Billy Martin was almost playing 500 ball. They were almost
Billy Martin was the problem because he was his way of dealing with adversity. Yeah.
Adversaries or adversity.
Yeah, whatever. The way he deals with problems is to create more problems, and that was not what the Yankees needed.
Adversity with adverse adversaries.
Yeah. But I mean, and I think Bob Lemon did a lot with the pitching staff of that team. He also overcame some injuries and was a good game manager. And because the Yankees had a lot of really tight game management issues, and you know, they had to win a 1-game playoff to get into the pennant.
Yep.
So they were set up in a tough situation going into that, and despite that, they won. So
All right.
I'll take any of the three right now.
Yeah, exactly. Any of these three would work for
Not
me
that,
as
not
well.
that I don't think Aaron Boone is good, but I don't think he's as good as any of those three guys.
I would have to concur with that. So, all right. Top 10 list time.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Top 10 list time. There we go. All right. Let's pull this up here and put this right here. All right, folks. Top 10 list. This week's top 10 list in continuing with our theme of greatest teams from a 20-year span. We are backing up even further, and we're going top 10 Major League Baseball teams from 1960 to 1979. 1960 to 1979, top 10.
Also
Major League
known
Baseball
as
teams.
scraping the bottom of the idea barrel.
Hey, well, you know what? Hey,
But maybe the top of the best teams list.
Pretty damn good teams.
I would say a lot of these good teams can stack up against any of the ones that we've done the last two lists.
I think if we were to do a top 20 of all time, maybe 5 or 6 of these teams would be in there easy.
I would agree with that. So, all right. And once again, we have 12 teams. We have a tie at 9 and a tie at 5. So we'll get it going right now. Top 10 Major League Baseball teams from 1960 to 1979. We'll start it off with number 10 is the 1963 Los Angeles Dodgers. The 1963 Los Angeles Dodgers, they went 99 and 63 to win the National League title by 6 games over the runner-up St. Louis Cardinals, and then beat the Yankees in 4 games, swept them in the 63 World Series, making it the first time that the Yankees were ever swept in the postseason ever. So that's one accolade for this particular Dodgers team. So. And let's see who were some standouts on this team. Don Drysdale, obviously. Of course, you had Sandy Koufax pitching as well. Any others?
Maury Wills.
Maury Wills. There we
This
go.
is not a bunch of known names, at least not for me.
There you
Don
go.
Zimmer.
Scott. Don Zimmer. There you go. You're right.
He was a coach.
Oh, and I guess his name was pronounced Padres, but I always like the Johnny Padres.
Johnny Padres, yeah.
Spelled with an O, but I always pronounce it with an A. Johnny Padres.
Johnny Padres. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, that was about it. That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
I can't be expected to know players that
talking-
were playing 2 years
It's
before I was born.
58 years ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, anyway, all right, there you go. So,
Oh, and Frank Howard. There you go.
Frank Howard, yes.
Frank Howard in
was
right
on the
field.
team. All right. So number 10, the 1963 Los Angeles Dodgers. All right, number 9 is a tie, a two-way tie.
Number 9.
Number 9, first number 9 that's tied is going to be the 1972 Oakland Athletics, Oakland A's. There we go. They went 93 and 62 in the regular season. They defeated the Tigers in a 5-game in a 5-game ALCS at the time, and then they beat the Reds in the for their first.
They beat a good team.
They beat the Reds for their first ever world championship since 1930 when they were the Philadelphia Athletics. So that was the first championship in 42 years at that point. And they made a stop in Kansas City along the way out to Oakland in between that. So, yep, 1972 Oakland A's would be tied for number 9. Any interesting names on there? Let's see. Raleigh Fingers.
This team, by comparison, is a dictionary of great players and great names, right?
Absolutely.
You got Campaneris,
Right,
Sal
Campaneris.
Bando, Joe Rudy, Reggie.
Well, just look at their starting pitching.
Yeah.
You had
Flatfish,
Vita Blue, Raleigh Fingers,
Vita Blue,
Ken
Yeah,
Holtzman, Catfish Hunter,
Mm-hmm.
Denny McLean.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, then you had
Blue Moon Odom.
yeah.
Don't forget about him.
Yeah. Jim Rowland. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, you had Sal Bando, Bert Campaneris.
Yeah, it's a crazy stacked team.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really was.
The outfield was really, Joe Rudy, Reggie Jackson,
Matty Lou,
Bobby Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty good team. And then you had
and Art Shamsky was on the team too.
That's right.
So anyway,
yeah, I think he hit $125 that year.
I believe he did. Yeah. So anyway, so tied for number 9, the 1972 Oakland A's. There we go. Also tied for number 9, the 1971 Pittsburgh Pirates. They went 97-65.
Who dug this one out?
They went 97-65, first place in the division. They defeated the Giants in 3 games to win the NLCS, and then beat the Orioles, who had just lost their second in 3 years. In 4 games, they swept the Orioles. I'm sorry, they didn't sweep the Orioles. They beat them in 7, 4 games to 3 in the World Series. So
the Orioles were in 3 years in a row, right?
3 years in a row.
Lost 2 out of 3.
Lost 2 out of 3. Lost 69-71, 1-70.
They were the Atlanta Braves of their time. I mean, they had amazing records those years.
Yeah, just couldn't get it done in the World Series. But yeah, the 71 Pirates, and yeah, this kind of the same thing. The names on these lists.
This is all about these guys are all about the outfield.
Yeah. Bill Mazeroski, Roberto Clemente, Willie Stargell,
Al Oliver.
Yep. A lot of
Milt May.
Yep.
Doc Ellis he came over from the A's, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the year he was not on acid.
This would be correct.
Yeah. Oh, and Mudcat Grant. No one forget
Mudcat Grant. You can't forget Mudcat Grant.
That's right.
Absolutely. So there you go. All right. Also tied for number 9, the 71 Pittsburgh Pirates. All right. Number 8, the only team that did not win a World Series on this list tonight, the 1969 Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles went 109-53 in the AL East that year. First in the division, of course. And they, they were 19 games ahead of the runner-up Tigers. They swept the Twins in the ALCS, but lost the World Series to the Mets in 5 games. The Mets beat them 4-1. And again, much like the Oakland A's, this is a dictionary of names on this list.
Boog Powell.
Boog Powell. There you go. But you had, who did you have? I mean, you got Jim Palmer, obviously.
Frank Robinson. Dave May. Paul Blair.
Mm-hmm.
The young Jim Palmer.
Mark Blanger.
That's right.
A 23-year-old Jim Palmer.
Jim Palmer. It was on his team, yeah. Just it's an amazing team that just didn't get it done in the World Series.
Well, this was a team that for 3 years there, I think won 109, 108, and 107. I mean, it was unbelievable, and they lost 2 out of 3 of the World Series. But I mean, well over 100 wins every one of those years. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, and Clay Dalrymple.
And they were managed by Earl Weaver too. So.
Clay Dalrymple.
Earl Weaver and has the bona fides of being known as a recipient of the Old Balls Award.
Well, he has a former Old Balls recipient, Mr.
Current ball. I think he's the reigning Old Balls recipient.
I think he might just be.
Yeah.
There you go.
He probably values that more than the second place trophy they get.
This is true.
So losing the World Series.
So number 8, the 1969 Baltimore Orioles. Moving on to Mr. 7. Mr. 7. Number 7 tonight is the 1968 Detroit Tigers. What a team this was. 103-59 in the regular season. It was known, 1968 baseball season, known as the Year of the Pitcher, was Detroit Tigers' 68th since they entered the American League in 1901. It's their 8th pennant they won. They I lost my place here. Denny McLain won the Cy Young. That was also the AL's MVP as well.
McLain, Lolich, Wilson, and Sparma.
Just a great.
Denny McLain went 31-6.
31-6
with a 1.96 earned run average.
Mm-hmm. And they beat
31-6.
Made 41 starts.
Yeah.
and threw 28 complete
He is the
games.
only
28
pitcher
complete
since
games.
1934 to win 30 games in a season.
Unbelievable. Yeah, the year of the pitcher, it was. And they beat the Cardinals, the defending world champion Cardinals, in 7 games. It took them 7 games to beat them, but they were able to do it. So there you go. The 1968 Detroit Tigers. Number 7. Mr. 7 tonight.
And their number 2 starting pitcher, Mickey Lolich, pitched 3 complete games, winning all 3 in the World Series. And in those 3 games, gave up 5 runs.
In those 3 games, gave up 5 runs. That's it.
Yeah.
I think I have his baseball card.
Do you?
He was he won the World Series MVP.
And Alkaline was on this team too.
Yeah, they were good.
Alkaline. So.
Yeah, it wasn't not. If I pay no attention to it, it goes away.
I just hear Pete chuckling in the background. That's all I needed.
That's a great one. That's a great gag.
Anyway, all right. Mr. 7 tonight, the 1968 Detroit Tigers. All right. Moving on to number 6. Number 6 is going to be the 1977 New York Yankees. The 1977 New York Yankees were managed by Billy Martin. They played very well.
Obviously, Met fans pushed this team down the list.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Actually, I would like to point one thing out here, and if I could take it and put a copy up on the screen right now and show everybody, all 3 of us had this team at number 7. All 3 of us had this team at number 7. Look at your lists. All 3 of us had this team at number 7.
I pushed them down.
And because of a tie at number 5, all right, because of a tie at number 5, all 3, they actually get to be number 6, not Mr. 7 tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, so 1977 New York Yankees were just crazy. I mean, that was the year of Reggie Jackson earned his nickname Mr. October.
I can name the starting team by heart.
I could too. As a Mets fan, I could too. And actually, it was just it was an amazing series, and it was an amazing year for the Yankees. So there you go. They won 162 that year, and they beat the Dodgers in 6 games in the World Series. There you go.
And one of the great all-time names is on this team, Mickey Klutz.
Mickey Klutz. And I just want to let everybody know that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Fred Stanley come from the Red Sox and then win a World Series with the Yankees? Or did he go to the Red Sox after the Yankees? I think
he went to the Red Sox after the Yankees.
Okay. Dave Kingman was also on this team.
Dave Kingman was?
Yep.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
I'm just checking to see when that was, but we're going to verify that question right now. Where is it? Dave Kingman was on the list. I can't.
But while you're looking for that, this is arguably one of the Yankees' better pitching staffs of all time.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, Guidry went 16-7. The next, I think it was 78 when he went 27-3.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he had a 2.82 ERA. You had Ed Figueroa, Mike Torres, Don Gullett, Ron Guidry, Catfish Hunter. And then, by the way, I think they added Doc Ellis at the end of the year, who wound up having a 1.83 earned run average.
Yep.
And then you had Sparky Lyle and Dick Tidrow and Ken Clay as your relievers. The Yankees won with pitching. I mean, yes, they had some great timely hitting, but man,
and it was kind of a down year for Catfish, right?
Right,
yeah.
Right.
His ERA was almost 5.
But he was big in the postseason.
Yep.
Yeah, good team, great team,
team.
It was.
They were pretty good the next year too.
Good enough to be Mr. 7.
Good enough to be Mr. 7 on our list, but number 6 tonight on this particular list.
And number 1 in my heart.
And number 1 in your hearts, the 1977 New York Yankees, number 6 on this list. All right. Moving on to number 5, we got a tie at number 5. The first number 5 is the 1976 Cincinnati Reds. 1976 Cincinnati Reds. They went back-to-back. They won 102 games, 102 and 60 that year, first in the division. They finished 10 games ahead of the Dodgers. Beat the Phillies in the 76 NLCS in 3 straight games, and won their second consecutive World Series in 4 straight games over the New York Yankees. Swept the New York Yankees in 1976. There you go.
7-0 to win the championship.
7-0 straight through.
Should have been a little higher on this list, but fair.
Mm-hmm. Good team. But again, a laundry list of great players.
Yeah. Bench, Morgan, Pete Rose, George Foster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if there weren't 2 Mets fans doing this list, I think they would be higher.
There you go. Sparky Anderson was
Actually, it's
manager.
really the fault of only one of the Mets fans.
This is true. Sparky, I
One of
think
them's pretty fair with his list.
I think
you fucking homer.
I think Pete had the 76 Reds higher on his list than you did, Harry.
I had him at number 4. Yeah.
So,
I mean, this is it's like take your pick between the 76 and the 75s.
yeah.
The 75 Reds won 108 games. I mean, yeah, but the 76
180 games.
108 games, but the 76 Reds that's the team that didn't lose in the postseason, right?
Did not lose in the postseason. No, they went.
I mean,
7-0
back to
in the
back.
postseason.
Yeah, take your pick. I mean, oof, so good.
Yeah, as of last year, the Reds are the only team in baseball history to sweep through an entire postseason since the addition of divisions.
Yeah, it's hard, real hard now, but yeah.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
I'm sure we'll see the Dodgers do it when they have when they acquire Jacob deGrom and Garrett Cole and in a late free agent signing,
and they have 9 starting pitchers, and a $500 million payroll
for Game 7. They just pitch one of them every inning.
Well, yeah, you know when they have like that bullpen game.
Yeah,
just run each of them out there one a day.
That's
they
what
just
Cole
throw
comes
out
in.
like Kershaw and then deGrom and then somebody else.
Right.
It's their bullpen day.
Yeah. And then it's Game 7, and nobody can complain, so they're going to reinstate what's his name, bring him in to close it out.
Bauer. Oh God, that's funny. It's true, but funny. That's the problem. All right. So tied for number 5 would be the 76 Reds. Also tied for number 6 would be the 1967 St. Louis Cardinals.
Good team.
Yeah, great team. 101 and 60 in the regular season.
Kind of forgotten the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Stan Musial was the manager that year, as a matter of fact, and they went on to win the World Series in 7 games over the Red Sox.
Yeah.
So just names on this list: Steve Carlton, Bob Gibson,
the young Steve Carlton,
Bob Gibson.
But imagine. Wait, hold on. Mm-hmm. Imagine that going up against that 1-2.
Right.
I mean, jeez.
Well, not only that, but you had Dick Hughes, who was 68-6 with a 2.67 ERA.
Right.
Which is the best ERA on the starting staff. And then you got Carlton. And then you got
Carlton. Didn't he have
Gibson? You know,
he had opponents hit 153 against Steve Carlton, 128 against Dick Hughes, 133 against Bob Gibson, and oh, by the way, .091 against Ray Washburn. I mean, and then they had a young Mike Torres on this team too.
Yep.
I mean, pitching. The late 60s are all about pitching, man, and there were some good pitchers.
He had Tim McCarver as catcher.
Not to mention McCarver and Lou Brock and Kurt Flood, who wasn't a great player, but
Roger Maris. Roger Maris was on his team too.
An aging Roger Maris.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Still hit 261.
There you go.
261.
Which he'd be leading 27 teams in average this year. He's slugging 405 and OPS is 751. Yeah,
and he was aging then. Yeah. And he'd be leading 2016.
He was 32. So
Oh.
He'd be young for the Yankees.
Yeah, exactly.
Lou Brock.
Lou Brock, yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. Anyway, all right. Also tied for number
Yeah.
five.
But I mean, they
2 stolen bases that year.
They won this with Lou Brock getting on, walking, stealing second, stealing third, stealing home, and then they would win 1-0.
Right.
I mean, they didn't have a lot. Cepeda was good. I mean, they had a slugger in Orlando Cepeda, which I forget about. But I mean, other than that, I mean, Tim McCarver was. I mean, Lou Brock was third on the team in RBIs.
Yeah.
The rest of the starting lineup had almost no RBIs. It's incredible.
He was second on the team. Brock was second on the team in home runs.
Yeah.
Albertos.
Yeah.
Albertos.
Yeah. Pretty good team.
There you go. So anyway, all right.
Lou Brock struck out 109 times that season.
Man. There you go. All right. So once again, also tied for number 5, the 1967 St. Louis Cardinals. All right. Top 4 coming at you right now. Number 4 is going to be the New York Mets, the 1969 version. 1969 New York Mets. Won 162 that year. First time they did that in their history.
Rounded out the 60s with pitching.
They were in last place. Exactly. They were in last place since, every year that they were a team since the early 60s. Or 62 they started. And they went 162 and took first place in the NL East. The Amazing Mets and Miracle Mets were the names. Amazing Mets was a name coined by Casey
Well,
Stengel.
they beat a team that won 109 games.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and was on paper a better team, but pitching wins you championships. And they, you know, by the way, Yogi Berra was the first base coach that year.
Yeah. The Mets went on to defeat the Braves in 3-0 in the inaugural NLCS. It was the first NLCS that year, and then defeated the Orioles, like we said before, in 5 games. They won 4-1. And of course, who got the last out for the Orioles in Game 5, where the Mets clinched won the series?
Davey Johnson.
Davey Johnson, and then he was the manager of the Mets the next time they won it.
This was a best.
And that was
of
the last
5?
time they won it. But no, it was best of 7.
Yeah. Oh, but
they
the
won.
game. Yeah.
They only played 5 because they won 4-1.
No, I get you.
Yeah.
Look, the Mets' best player, who did not have a long career of putting up numbers like this, but he had a miraculous season, was Cleon Jones. I mean, he hit 340.
Sure. Absolutely.
164 hits, you know.
And he caught that fly.
He was a great outfielder.
They asked him too. They asked him in an interview a bunch of times, why did he take a knee when he caught that ball? He says he was just trying to think of something good to do because he knew that was them winning the World Series, and he wanted to do something that was memorable. So he's like, that's the first thing that popped into his mind. So he caught the ball and took a knee.
Yeah.
Whatever that meant, but that's what he did. So.
I mean, look, this Mets team reminds me of the potential of what the Mets have now. Right. You know, it's like a really great top of the rotation, and then the chance for guys to perform and for a team to get hot and win it. It's not that different. If you look at the Mets, they were not lighting it up necessarily offensively, but they won with great defense and just incredible pitching.
Sure.
Yeah, you really only had 3 or 4 of the starters that were hitting like over 250.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, you had 238, 252, 218, 248, 235. Yeah. I mean, it looks a lot like what you would see today. You know, nobody had close to 100 RBIs.
Yep.
Not even close. 76.
Yep.
Tommy Agee, 26 home runs, 76 RBIs. So, but when you got the pitchers that they had, it's just and by the way, Nolan Ryan
on the staff
and a couple of other secret weapons like famous Amos Otis.
Amos Otis
and Art Shamsky.
Yeah. Art Shamsky was on this
and
team.
Don Clendenon.
Don Clendenon,
yeah, who won the MVP?
MVP. Don Clendenon won MVP.
Yeah, well, that's my point. Is that this was a team of destiny. The guys came out of I don't want to say they came out of nowhere, but they had career years, and career moments at the time when it mattered the most.
Mm-hmm.
And this has to be in the top 10 upsets in a major sports championship, I think, in the history of sports.
And, I always say that, and of course it did, and it was, but, why was it? And it was because the legacy that the Orioles had, and the fact that they won 108 games, and the fact that the Mets pretty much sucked up until this year, but not this year, but that year.
No, they had a good year, but
they had a great year. They won 100 games. I mean, how much of an underdog could a 100-game winning team be?
Right.
When it comes down to it.
So. But they were significant underdogs.
I know. That's my point.
Yeah. And of course, don't forget Tug McGraw also on this team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who made
the
42 appearances,
mm-hmm.
including 4 starts, and went 9-3 with a 2.24 ERA.
Well, and if you look at, the MVP of the Mets, other than Seaver, was Jerry Koosman, who should have probably been 22-6. He was right there with Seaver. He had a 2.28 ERA.
Yep.
You had, if I could get this ERA out of top 5 pitchers in a rotation, 343, 221, 228, 301, and 347,
mm-hmm.
you're going to win a championship. That's unbelievable.
It really is.
Unbelievable.
Pitching dictated it. It was great. And the year before was the year of the pitcher. This year wasn't too far off. So
no.
Now, number 4 on our list tonight, the 1969 New York Mets.
And by the way, Tug McGraw didn't even lead the team in saves that year.
He did not.
Ron Taylor did. Who they had a great bullpen. Other than Al Jackson, who had a 10.6 for ERA.
Mm-hmm.
They were pretty incredible.
So there you go. Number 4, the 1969 New York Mets. All right. Moving on to number 3. Number 3 is going to be the 1970 Baltimore Orioles. The year that they
came back and did it.
Actually came back and won the World Series this year. They won 108-54 once again, and in first place in the division. 15 games ahead of the runner-up Yankees. They put one of the most dominant postseason runs of all time. Scored 60 runs in just 8 games as they swept the Twins for the second straight year, and then went on to win the World Series over the Cincinnati Reds in 5 games. Thanks to the glove of third baseman, Mr. Brooks Robinson.
I thought you were going to say the glove of second baseman, Davey Johnson.
601. Yeah. So, the names on this, we talked about the names. They're all the same.
And how underrated is Frank Robinson as a player? My God. Yeah. Boog Powell, 35 home runs, 114 RBIs.
Yep.
They were pretty good. Jim Palmer, 20-10 with a 2.71 ERA.
Yep.
They had 3 guys on that starting team win over 20 games, and Palmer had the least wins.
Mm-hmm.
He had Mike Keeler win 24 games, Dave McNally won 24, and Palmer won 20.
Mm-hmm.
And they went with the 4-man rotation for most of the year, so they had more opportunities, but still, they were all hovering around 200 strikeouts. They all pitched 300 innings that year. So, yeah, unbelievable.
It was. And once again, reigning Old Bulls recipient, Mr. Earl Weaver, was again.
Earl did it.
Earl did it. He did it that year.
The Bobby Cox of the 60s and 70s.
And he had, on his coaching staff, he had George Bamberger.
So. Of course. of the famous Bamberger discounts, department stores.
Department stores, yeah, exactly. So
of the Richmond Bambergers.
Of the Richmond
Bambergers.
There you go. So number 3 on our list tonight, the 1970 Baltimore Orioles. All right. Number 2 on this list tonight is the 1975 Cincinnati Reds. 1975 Cincinnati Reds. They went 108-54. Best record in Major League Baseball that year, and finished 20 games ahead of the Dodgers. Went on to win the NLCS by defeating the Pittsburgh Pirates in 3 straight games, and then won the World Series in 7 games over the Boston Red Sox, and the likes of Carl Yastrzemski and
I think almost
Pudge, the original Pudge.
I think almost everybody on this team is either an a Hall of Famer or close to it.
Mm-hmm.
You could argue. I mean, you could make an argument. This is
best team,
the greatest team ever.
You really
close.
can.
It'll be in the top 5.
The 75 Reds are one of the few teams that are constantly challenging the 1927 Yankees for the title of best team,
or the 98 Yankees. Yeah.
Well, I think history leans to the 27 Yankees over the 98 Yankees, even though
yes, but I'm saying a lot of people have the 98 Yankees ahead of this Reds team now.
Right. They're all in the, like you said, the top 5 definitely, but
yeah,
I'd even say top 3.
Sort of in the
such a good team.
I think you could put the Reds and the 98 Yankees sort of in the same era.
Right.
Closer, obviously.
You can. They're closer. Yeah, only 23 years apart. Yeah.
Right, as opposed to 50 or 48 years apart. Or
right.
whatever. So, but yeah, it's
well, and
it will go on forever.
And they did it with a little bit more of an offensive attack. Their pitching wasn't as dominant as you saw in some of the teams that preceded this, both on our list and by year. But this was a team that could certainly score runs.
It was.
I mean, that lineup is just, Tony Perez, Johnny Bench, Joe Morgan, Dave Concepcion, Pete Rose, George Foster, and by the way, we'll throw in Ken Griffey and Cesar Geronimo. I mean, damn.
Yeah, and you look at the pitching staff. Jack Billingham was 15-10. Nobody else had double-digit losses.
No.
Gary Nolan had 9. So everybody else was in the single digits as far as the losses.
The top of their lineup, Joe Morgan and Pete Rose, had a 466 and a 406 on base percentage.
Unbelievable.
What a George Foster was at 356. Tony Perez was at 350.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Rose
at 391, so just under 400.
Pete Rose scored 112 runs, had 210 hits, 47 doubles, and I think he was the leadoff hitter that year and had 74 RBIs.
Crazy. Leadoff hitter and had 74 RBIs. Yeah. Hey, what a team!
They know how to play baseball. They know how to score runs. I should say.
Absolutely,
I mean, they
they
knew how to grind it out.
They were a machine. That's for sure.
I heard they were the big red machine.
A big red machine. They were. Yes, they were.
Well, let's hope so, because they are the Reds.
All right. So number 2 on our list tonight, the 1975 Cincinnati Reds. All right. It brings us to the number 1 team on our list tonight, and that would be none other than the 1961 New York Yankees. 1961 New York Yankees went 109-53. 109-53. 8 games ahead of the Detroit Tigers and won their 26th American League pennant that year. They were managed by Mr. Hook. Hauk.
Also known as Haukeline.
I always call him Hook.
Well, they were so good that Yogi Berra played left field.
Yogi Berra played left field. Yes, he did.
He did.
This was the 1961 Yankees. That was probably one of the best stories out of that year. Was the chase between Maris and Mantle for the the home run record, challenging Babe Ruth's single season record by hitting 61. Roger Maris did. Of course, they put the asterisk after it because he did it in 8 more games. Right, it was 154 games back when Ruth did it. So it was 162 at this point. So, but what are you going to do? But yeah, they defeated the Cincinnati Reds in 5 games this year in the World Series, 4-1. So, the players on this team, bring it back to the 50s, basically, obviously, because this was just after, still basically the same team together that was at the time. Yeah, you're right. And Yogi Berra was in the outfield that year. He wasn't catching. He was playing.
Yeah, Elston Howard started.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Who was, the Yankees. I think the Yankees have had some good catchers over the years. Just, it's very rare that they have a break until now. They just have one good catcher after another.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pretty incredible. But
Bill Dickey, Yogi
Bill
Berra.
Bill Dickey to Yogi Berra
to
to
Elston Howard.
Elston Howard to Thurman Munson, to Jorge Posada. You know, throw Joe Girardi in there for
throw Joe Girardi in there too for good measure.
Yeah, he's an asterisk for many reasons, but yeah.
Right.
And then it all comes down to Gary Sanchez.
There you go.
Oops.
Hey, you still got Kyle Higashioka, so I mean.
Yeah, again. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish him well. I don't think we're going to see.
He's not going to be in the top 10 Yankee catchers of all time.
Top 10 Yankee catchers.
No, he might not even be the top 10 Japanese players of all time. He's not even Japanese. He's American, but yeah.
He's his name's Japanese.
He's Japanese American.
He's
or American Japanese.
However it works, but
yeah, whatever he prefers.
This team.
His name's Kyle.
His name is Kyle. Yes, exactly. But in any event, and the pitching on this team too. You still had Whitey Ford.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they Bill Stafford, Ralph Terry, Raleigh Sheldon.
Sure.
It wasn't their. It was just a good
solid team.
Yeah, they just knew how to win games. It was this was more of a lineup-based team, whereas the dominance in that pitching came, 60, 65, 66, 67, 68. Yeah. But I think you got a good chance when you got, much like, Seaver with the Mets, you always have a good chance when Whitey Ford's going to start for you.
Absolutely. But you had Mantle, you had Maris, Yogi Berra, Elston Howard, Johnny Blanchard, Bill Skowron. Murderers Row, right? They hit a combined 207 home runs that year.
Yeah.
207. The Yankees hit 207 home runs that year.
Right.
I
mean, it's not quite the same as the teams that preceded it, just because
the original Murderers Row back in
right. You had DiMaggio still there. You had what's his name as first base. But damn, what a good team.
Yeah. So, but really, really good team and great series as well.
Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris together had 169 RBIs. 269 RBIs.
269 RBIs.
269 RBIs.
And
115 home runs.
115 home runs together, yeah. 61 and 46, right? Yeah.
54 and 61, yeah. So what's it?
154 and 61. That's 115, yeah. 54 and 61, yeah. Yeah, crazy. crazy math on the fly there. So there you go. Well, there you have it. Tonight's top 10 list rounded out by our number one team on the list, the 1961 New York Yankees. All right. On that point, why don't we get to our Old Balls recipient tonight?
Old Balls.
Who is it, Harry?
Look, think about as a kid, I think about this anything baseball in the 1970s. The Old Balls recipient of this year has to be the 1978 New York Yankees. I don't care if you're a Yankees fan or not. This was one of the most storybook comebacks in the history of all sports. And unless you're a Boston Red Sox fan,
right,
it's one for the ages. It's unbelievable. I mean, this was a team, again, they won the World Series in 77. They come back, they're floundering. George Steinbrenner fires Billy Martin, hires Dick Hauser, Bob Lemon. And you see a Yankees team overcome some injuries, win a one-game playoff with the memorable Bucky Dent home run. I will add this, though. Who had the game-winning hit, which was also a home run in that game? Doesn't get talked about very much. Mr. Reggie Jackson. Mm-hmm. Yes. But this was another Yankees team, which
Bucky Dent's was a little more storied.
Yeah, because it was Bucky Dent.
Yeah.
But yes. And Ron Guidry had one of the best seasons I think I've seen a pitcher have in my lifetime. He was 25-3 with 248 strikeouts and a 1.74 ERA and 9 shutouts. Yep. 9. Yeah, and then you had Goose Gossage, who was, actually stumbled a little bit in the postseason, but was, the top reliever that year as well with 28 saves, something like that. But yeah, I mean, Jackson and Dent hit home runs. Guidry won that one game against the Red Sox again. Put them. Guidry pitched the one game, and then they had to go into the playoffs without their top pitcher. I mean, it was a storybook comeback, and just a great team. Very similar to the '77 team, but just a much bigger comeback and a much bigger, much more dynamic way in which they did it.
Yeah, it definitely was. They were a really really good team.
Yeah, and you got
powerhouse,
and they were a powerhouse, but a floundering one because of all the tumultuousness that was happening in the early season with Billy Martin, and his showdown with Reggie Jackson, and,
right,
and all of that hoopla was going on.
But I mean, you look at this team, and this was the return of the Yankees after a long drought, and I still think some of these people on this list are some of the best all-time Yankees of all time. And look, it was a very big comeback, and some would say they were finally living up to their potential. But it's really hard to repeat as a champion, and especially under these conditions. You have to. It's a memorable team. It might not be the best team on paper, but it's certainly a memorable team and pretty incredible season.
Yep.
And they got to beat the Dodgers. So
exactly. There you go. And the 1978 New York Yankees. This week's Old Balls.
Old balls.
Right.
I actually rooted for them to win.
Yeah. Yeah, this was actually the year
against
that
the Dodgers. That is
against the Dodgers. Well, sure,
but they beat a good Kansas City Royals team too, which I remember thinking, oh, this is going to be tough, but great year. When the playoffs start this year, I'm just going to watch old reruns of these games.
That might help you.
Yeah.
This was the year too. I forget when it was, during the summer, obviously, but I was at a Yankees Royals game, and was there for batting practice, and actually caught a Reggie Jackson foul ball in batting practice. So
very nice.
That was interesting. That was fun. That was a good time. Good day. Good memory. Good job. Anyway. So, all right. Well, that is our top 10 list in old balls for this week. So, what else we got? There's a little football to talk about.
We're going to skip over the NBA and go to football?
There's a few, football's coming up, and there was just NBA free agents. So, we'll talk about them first. I'm going to take the old balls comment over there. We'll get into NFL a little bit, only because there's a couple interesting things going on as of the other day, especially with the Giants. So
Daniel Jones is uncomfortable unless he's smothered by other players,
smothered by everybody on the team.
He just feels out of place if he's not permanently sacked.
So as the story goes, Corey Clement I was either running a route or caught a pass or whatever, and he was tackled maybe a little too hard by Jabril Peppers, which pissed Evan Ingram off. So he pushed Jabril Peppers, which pissed Logan Ryan off. So he went after Evan Ingram, and then it turned into one of those good old-fashioned melees, and everyone basically jumped in the pile. And Daniel Jones was pretty much on the bottom of it.
That's right. That's a safe space.
It's a safe place for the quarterback. Get in a fight and jump in and get on the bottom of the pile. It's whatever. But
it's post-traumatic. It's PTS.
Right. Logan Ryan said in an interview, he had a long interview afterwards. He says his chippiness, its attitude, same chippiness and attitude. Chippiness, he used that word a bunch of times, that the former guys had. In fact, they had just talked to Justin Tuck, Matthias Kiwanuka, and Osi Umenyiora the day before. They came in to talk to the defense, and so maybe some of the chippiness came from that. Who knows? But he says they play in New Jersey. They're gonna have chippiness and attitude. He said, but he said
unless Bobby Bagliari can start at left tackle,
right? He said that he'll take a team like that every day, and he said Evan is his boy, and they'll push each other, and he'll push Evan Ingram to get better, and Evan will push him to get better. So they're locker mates or something.
It was the first block that anybody saw Evan Ingram do in the last 3 years.
Well, pretty much, yeah, absolutely. Actually, where it is that he's been actually blocking better. I don't know whether he feels
the pressure of having other tight ends
that can actually be tight ends. But who knows? Hey, you know what? Competition makes you better, right? So Blake Martinez said it's part of football. Things happen. So
yeah, I mean it's a slow news day for the Giants, and
pretty much
back in the day you wouldn't have that many. If the staff writers were there, you wouldn't hear about it. So
no, not at all.
Now it's everybody's tweeting and twatting, so it's
tweeting and twatting.
I don't know, whatever.
It is, and you know what though, and Judge got fuming pissed at him. He made them do like calisthenics and running for like
Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge.
Did I say Aaron Judge? Joe
No,
Judge.
you just said Judge.
I just said Judge. Right.
Judge Judy, I thought you meant.
Yeah, Judge Judy.
Judge Judy.
Judge Joe Morgan.
Judge Judy might be managing the Yankees next year.
She may very well be. But yeah, Judge, he had them running and doing calisthenics for like the last half hour practice because he was so pissed. I think he was doubly pissed at Daniel Jones for getting involved in that. But you know what? You look at it one way, at least it's some like attitude and character that Daniel Jones went in there and stuck up for his guys or whatever you want to say.
Who's the Giants' backup? Who's number 2 on the depth chart right now?
What's his face from? They picked him up from former
Home Depot.
Former Home Depot assistant manager.
No offense to any Home Depot workers. I value your hard work.
Absolutely. No, not talking about that at all. No, he's on the was he on the Jags? What was it? Let me see here.
I stumped.
Well,
I don't know the answer. Blake Bortles?
No. Where the hell is it? I forget. I don't know. Jim, look that up, will you? Giants depth chart 2021. There we go.
Only the best.
Quarterback. Only the best for you guys. We definitely.
Dead air is how you hook them in while you look up stats.
There you go. Mike Glennon.
Oh, the old Mike Glennon.
Right. Mike Glennon. There you go.
Well, the good news is we know if Daniel Jones decides to do something stupid again, then we got Mike Glennon
Glennon
waiting in the wings.
Exactly. And you got Clayton Thorson.
You got Clete Boyer.
There you go.
Well, listen,
Scooter Barnes.
I don't know if you've been following the Jets quarterback.
Well, they have
signings of late.
A little bit. Yeah.
What's his problem?
They just signed a young man. He's not young. He's 35. Named Josh Johnson.
Oh, they signed Josh Johnson, didn't
they?
Well,
I think that's because they're waiting to sign a young man named Zach.
Well, they did sign him. They finally got the deal done.
Yeah.
So.
Listen, apparently it's Zach Wilson or nothing.
Apparently, yeah.
There was going to be Zach Wilson or Zach
Braff. Journeyman who last played in 2018 with Washington.
I heard they were going to hire either Zach Wilson or Zach Braff or Zach Galifianakis.
Zach Graff.
He was on the
Zach Galifianakis. That would be great.
Practice squad and played in the XFL and has changed teams 17 times since entering the league.
Okay, so you have your own Mike Glennon.
Your own Mike Glennon.
Once on the Jets roster for 10 days.
All right, well,
15.
I will bet you this, that when the Giants play the Jets in preseason and all the shitheads are in it, when the starters play 3 downs, I bet you that your USFL / 17-year veteran outperforms Mike Glennon.
How old is this guy?
Well, here's my favorite part about the article. So he joins, obviously, Zach Wilson, 2024 rounder James Morgan, 26-year-old Mike White, which they don't even list where he came from.
He doesn't exist. That's a placeholder when you put Mike White.
Yeah.
It's like John Doe.
Joe Smith. Yeah.
Johnson brings a needed veteran presence to New York to help tutor Wilson on the field and in the film room.
There you go.
This is the guy who's been bounced around. Was on the
I'm
practice squad.
telling you, man, it's the showdown in the Meadowlands. Johnson versus McLennan.
I didn't know why they didn't just go out and get Josh McCown and have him do the same thing, because that would have been a little bit better. Right? Of
They got the wrong Josh.
They got the wrong Josh. There you go.
Look, as Bart Scott would say, veteran.
Yeah, right.
That would be his response. Bringing a veteran presence in
he's veteran, all right. He's actually a veteran of World War II.
He's a veteran. Yes, he's a vet. But on that note, Zach Wilson's birthday was yesterday. So happy birthday, Zach Wilson. He turned 22 yesterday.
17 years old now.
He's 16. I thought. No, he's 22 yesterday. But here's the funny thing. Yesterday was also Tom Brady's birthday. Tom Brady was 44 yesterday. So Tom Brady was 22 when Zach Wilson was born. So that's pretty funny.
Tom Brady's a young man.
Tom Brady looks younger now than he did when he was 22.
Tom Brady is going to win another Super Bowl before he retires.
And might it be this year?
I mean, he's got a good chance.
He's got a good chance, right? Who knows?
But anybody else.
As far as the rest of the NFL goes, the only other thing that popped up that I noticed was, Carson Wentz is out for probably half the season of the Colts.
They have equally as bad backups in Indianapolis.
Well, now everybody's calling for the Colts to go out and sign Nick Foles.
That'd be great.
Nick Foles be Carson Wentz's backup.
That had to start with a Philly fan. Some Philly fan was sitting there. I should go out and get Foles.
Frank Reich actually. Hold on, I can pull this up. Frank Reich actually addressed it. Colts Reich addresses calls for Foles.
Oh yeah.
Who is Foles playing?
This is Wentz's team.
Is Foles unsigned?
I don't know. I thought he was still signed another year to the Bears, but they got Justin Wilson, so I just figured here. Colts Frank Reich had a message for fans calling for Indy to sign Nick Foles from the Bears. Jalen Hurts showed he can learn from mistakes. Aaron Rodgers is truly spoiled for choice at wide receiver position, and in Minnesota, starter Kirk Cousins is expected back at practice on Thursday. That does not say anything about. That was Frank Reich's message for Nick Foles. That's weird. I don't get it, but I'm not sure how that's a message, but it's a message.
Andrew Luck's going to come back for a couple.
Well, that's the thing too. Andrew Luck, in a related story, Andrew Luck tweeted that he was coming out of retirement. So, what happened to? Did they release? What's his face? Who was the?
Peyton Manning?
No,
I don't know. Yeah. Name 3 Indianapolis Colts quarterbacks. I just did.
No, whatchamacallit took over.
What team are we talking about?
The Colts. The Colts. He was on the Colts. He was on the Colts for the last several years. He was a quarterback. He was a quarterback when Luck retired. Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he's there anymore.
What happened?
He went to the Patriots, didn't he?
Brissett went to the Patriots, didn't he?
He went somewhere.
Yeah, Foles. It says here Foles is currently buried with the 3rd string on Chicago's depth chart behind Andy Dalton and Justin Fields.
He's on the Dolphins. Jacoby Brissett's on the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And Foles is the 3rd string on the Bears?
Foles is 3rd string on the Bears behind Andy Dalton. So
behind Andy Dalton. Well, yeah, of course, because they took Andy Dalton from Dallas. So it would only make sense for the Bears to try and get something back from the Colts and trade him over there.
So by the time
how incredibly crazy would that be if Foles is following Wentz around?
Well, by the time the playoffs start, Foles will be the starting quarterback.
Exactly. and they'll go to the Super Bowl. Right. And they'll go to the Super Bowl and play
Tom Brady.
Just different leagues, both of them, different conferences. That'd be funny. But anyway, so that's pretty much it for NFL. You guys have anything else?
Just a quick visit from the Great Names division.
Sure.
Speaking about the Jets, so here's just I think this is just the NFL.com sort of roundup. Right. So just a quick blurb. Rookie offensive lineman Elijah Vera Tucker, which is just a great name.
Sure.
Listed as day-to-day, blah, blah, blah. But the really great sentence is, Defensive end Jabari Zuniga has an ankle issue, while offensive lineman Chuma Agoda will likely be out a little longer.
Oh, well.
Two great names.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Two great names.
Jabari Zuniga and Chuma Agoda.
Trumagoda. Oh, you got to love it.
It's the original name of Penn and Teller.
It was. That was their names. They took them from them. And they changed
Jabari
them.
and Chuma.
There you go. All righty.
That's it. That's it for football.
That's it for NFL, yeah. Let's talk some NBA free agency, shall we?
Sure.
Why the hell not? All right. Why don't we start with the fact that the Knicks re-signed Taj Gibson to a 1 year, $2.7 million. But they signed Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker. And I know Harry has a lot to say about that, so let's give him the floor.
Is this going to be a good Kemba Walker or?
Well, I'm happy. I think Evan Fournier is a good signing. I mean, obviously he's a two guard who can shoot. If he comes back into his form where he was with the Magic prior to last year, I mean, I'm hoping that the Celtics is just a black hole for a lot of people.
Right.
The exception of Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett, it doesn't seem to always necessarily work out as a great landing spot of late. Look, this is the Knicks to me saying this is the best we're going to get. So what this tells me is the Knicks have no chance in hell of any sort of top tier star going and playing for them. So
do you think do you think they even reached out to Kawhi or
well, I mean,
Paul George or anybody?
I'm sure they know, and I'm sure they know that they're not in the running, and so there's lots of rumors about Damian Lillard, and sure, I would love to see Damian Lillard go somewhere like the Knicks, but this is just what the Knicks are. Kemba Walker, on paper, looks like a good pick, but he is coming off a pretty serious injury, and he does not fit into what the Knicks have built themselves on. He can score. He's going to be their number one option. So he's back to where he was with the Hornets, where he had some great years. Where will be their number one option. I think Randall and Fournier will become 2 and 3. Some nights maybe Randall 2, some nights Fournier 2, and I think that'll help Julius Randle. Julius Randle is a solid second or third option on a team. He's a good player, but his true color, you saw what happens. You can't win a playoff series with him sort of leading the way. Not at this point, and I don't see it ever happening. So, okay, they've upgraded there, but they have no room really to do anything else. And the fact that they've re-signed a Taj Gibson and a Derrick Rose just sort of shows that this is what the Knicks are destined to be. I think it makes them slightly better. Can they get out of the first round? Maybe. Sure. Does this team beat the Atlanta Hawks? No. But if they match up against somebody that's a better matchup, maybe they can. Look, the key to the Knicks is, I think, getting Mitchell back healthy. Nerlens Noel is a good player, but he doesn't have the potential of Mitchell. And quite frankly, I think they need both of them against certain teams. But they're still missing that X factor, and they don't have it. And Kemba Walker, he's great to star in Charlotte on a team that's not going to go to the playoffs. But this is not the spotlight player that I see, hopefully, for the future of the New York Knicks. And correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe there's a way of them adding somebody else, but I think it just proves the fact that this is probably the best player they foresee themselves getting this year and or next year's free agency.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, there were so many reports out there that no matter who they were looking at and who they were interested in, if Dame came available, all bets were off because they were going full throttle at.
But they can't now.
To get him. Right.
And I think Lillard will become available.
I mean,
unless they sign a Walker and a Fournier to package a deal together.
Right.
Quite frankly, I'd rather see Damian Lillard and Fournier play together than Damian Lillard and Julius Randle. So, look, it's not going to happen. Damian Lillard's not coming to the New York Knicks.
Right. You think Kawhi had a chance to come?
Kawhi's staying in with the Clippers. Kawhi is going to. I think
test the waters and then sign something.
Yeah, he'll sign an extension. I think Kawhi's also probably wants to leave it open to be flexible to get some other players in there. I think that he learned his lesson by sort of sapping their resources a little bit. They weren't a very deep team. And Kawhi's coming off another injury, which is tough. But I think the Clippers will still make a move. I think that the Knicks are better, but their ceiling is just a little bit higher. I don't see them getting out of it. I mean, I just don't see them making. But that they kept the Kemba Walker. I mean, I thought somebody like Kemba Walker would go to the Sixers. Now that might be where Damian Lillard winds up.
Yeah. Well, if that happens, then.
And here, I know he's listening. And Damian Lillard, let me explain something to you. If you want to go to a team where you're going to be the star of the backcourt and have a great big man to play with alongside of, come to Denver because you got a better chance of winning the championship.
There you go. Well, as it was said, there you go. And they didn't. The Knicks did not extend an offer to Frank Ntilikina, so he's a free agent.
I mean, we've been dragging him along. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, he's an okay player, but he's not a starter, and he's not even a backup.
No,
at this point.
So
good defensive player. His offensive game has just not developed.
Right.
So. Time to cut bait.
Exactly. And on the other flip side of things, the Nets, Patty Mills.
Great pickup for the Nets. I think a great pickup. Boy, imagine having Patty Mills when the backcourt injury bug hits next year. That's going to help them quite a bit because he could play 2 or 1. He's never really been a starter until late, but he was a great backup on those championship teams, and I think that's the role he can play here with the Nets.
Sounds like it is. And who else? They re-signed whatchamacallit too.
Well, they have this guy called Kevin Durant.
They re-signed Kevin Durant?
They re-signed Kevin. No, Bruce Brown. They re-signed Bruce Brown. They gave him a qualifying offer. So,
well, there you go.
Well, there you go. Good. Anyway.
Probably, yeah.
So, does it surprise you that Melo went to the Lakers?
No, but I think it's a good fit. Look, the Lakers are still kind of an old team now. This is their one shot, but Melo shot 41%, I think, from 3-point range last year.
Yeah.
I mean LeBron would go into the lane, his headband would fall down, and he'd look out to see who he had to throw it to, and Anthony Davis was on the bench, and he didn't have a lot of options last year, so they're a lot deeper. This is a veteran team that maybe they could figure out a way of saying, hey, let's put everything aside here. Let's put it all out on the table.
Figure it out and see what we do this season. Yeah.
And do what we can. I mean, you could argue that they have 5 of the top 25 players of all time on that team. Now, granted, Melo's at the end of his career. Westbrook, you could say, is not at the peak, but certainly not at the downfall. LeBron is. We'll see where the meter falls on him. Anthony Davis could very well be at his peak if he could stay healthy. On paper, they look pretty good. They got deeper, which is what the Lakers needed to do. They still need some role players, but I think that they'll add them.
It's just funny that anything I read up until the Lakers signed him, all the speculation was that there was going to be a reunion between Melo and Matt and the Garden. So,
look, New York papers are
full of shit.
They really. Well, Tibbs did mention it.
Tibbs wanted him. Yeah, he wanted.
Yeah. I don't think he wanted to come back. I mean, if you're Melo, what's Melo? 38, right? I mean,
somewhere near 37, 38. Yeah.
You're gonna go to the Lakers. You're gonna go to the Knicks. I mean, what?
Play a year or two in LA, maybe push for a shot at the championship. Yeah, why not? Makes sense, right?
I'm also seeing the Lakers are looking to get Russell Westbrook.
Is that right?
Yep. Reports are saying they're going to trade Kyle Kuzma, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, Montrezl Harrell, and a
Montrezl
22nd.
Harrell.
And Andrew Luck.
And Angela.
Right.
Wow. So Melo and
They've got Westbrook. Yeah, that's a done deal.
that's a done deal. Okay.
They do.
And I'm also seeing Dinwiddie's going to Washington.
Is he?
Yep.
Isn't-
Let's see.
The Knicks were looking at him.
Wizards sending a second-round pick and a draft swap to Brooklyn to acquire Spencer Dinwiddie. So there you go.
There you go. All right.
It's a 5-team deal. So the Wizards get Wizards get Dinwiddie, Kuzma, Pope, Harrell, Holiday, and Isaiah Todd. Lakers get Westbrook. The Nets get the 2024 second round pick and a 2025 swap. The Spurs get Chandler Hutchinson and a future second round pick. And the Pacers, for some reason, get Isaiah Jackson.
Wow. That's a 5-team deal for right.
Yeah. Wow. How about that?
And
The
Nets get the 2032 4th-round pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the point at that point? Just take them, you know? What do you need that for?
And the Sixers have signed Andre Drummond,
Oh, really?
according to this.
There you go.
According to NBA.com. So there we go.
And there you have it.
So the Sixers are getting even bigger.
They're making their push. All the teams are making their pushes.
They wanted to get somebody who was equally as bad at shooting free throws to make what's his name feel better about himself.
Oh, and Mike
Oh,
D'Antoni is joining the Pelican staff as an advisor.
Really?
Yeah.
D'Antoni's leaving Brooklyn?
Yeah, he left.
Oh. So he's joining the Pelicans as an advisor as to how not to play defense?
Yeah. And apparently Oladipo is going to go back to the Heat.
Yeah, the Oladipo re-signed with the Heat, which is
He did. Okay.
look, the Heat have gotten the Heat have definitely gotten better.
Yeah, no, I know that was a guy you were interested in for the Knicks. So.
Yeah. That trading last year, trade deadline last year would have been.
No, they
I mean,
got Kyle Lowry, so
Doesn't mean he won't be traded, but
right.
Right.
I mean,
presumably not if he's re-signing him.
Right.
I mean, look, Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and that's an Oladipo. They got a pretty good starting team in Miami.
It's not bad.
Yeah,
it's not bad. They can certainly hold their
I
own.
mean, I think on paper they're better than the Knicks. You know, they had a down year last year, but we'll see.
We certainly will. All right.
And LaMarcus Aldridge is considering a comeback.
All right. Well, on that note, I think that's pretty much it for NBA, right?
pretty much.
There's nothing else going on. It's not like there's any games to talk about. So,
we can talk about the Olympics.
We can talk about the Olympics, though. One quick hockey note. I'm even going to put the thing up. Shesterkin did not file for arbitration, so hopefully that means a new deal for the 25-year-old goalie for the Rangers. So there you go. Just wanted to say that. There you go. You have any Olympic stuff?
Nope.
Well, I mean, just watching the basketball. I mean, Evan Fournier put on a show against the U.S. team, and
he did.
The U.S. I think is. And that's it. Pete's out.
I guess Pete really didn't have anything to say about the Olympics. He said, I guess you really didn't have anything to say about the Olympics then.
No, I thought we were done. Sorry.
I gotta love it. But yes, Fournier did put on a display for France against the U.S. Team. That was pretty. What do you have? 24 points?
28.
28 points. 28 points.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I'm not rooting against the USA basketball team. I really don't care if they win or not. I just don't care. I just don't care anymore.
So, I did see a nice. Was it a double from baseball wise? A double from Mr. Frazier in the U.S. Olympic baseball team. Mr. Todd Frazier. The Todd father playing ball in Japan, but not for Japan, for the United States. So there you go. Anywho, yeah, there's been a bunch of decent medals, and I've been watching a little bit more. I watched a little bit more this past week than I did the week before. So,
well, listen, I think the cup. I mean, it looks like the Simone Biles stuff is kind of, quieting down a little bit. There's actually been a number of former gymnasts who've come out and talked about some stuff.
Oh, sure.
And a great story in Sunisa Lee, who won the all-around.
Yeah, this is true.
Like, yeah, Simone's not here. I guess I'll go out and take this thing
And
down.
Simone, she came back in and went on the was it the
Balance beam.
balance beam? And
Won
won
bronze.
the bronze. Yeah, won a bronze. Yeah, won LeBron. She won LeBron.
Won LeBron. Yeah.
Here's my thoughts on the Olympics this year. I just don't give a shit.
There you go.
Sorry, I know that sounds horrible, but it's just whenever I turn it on and there's water polo on, it's. And by the way, let's talk about things they could do to speed up the water polo match.
Mm-hmm.
We could not have it.
Yeah.
Could not have it. Yeah.
Don't put it on.
I mean,
that would be
that's
one way to speed it up.
Yeah.
You know what? I got to be honest with you. I tend to watch more of the Olympic Games in the winter games, than I do watch the summer games.
You know what's the big story? The soccer team.
Yeah. Well, I predicted that, and it's because they're playing to the egos of these stars, and they're too old. They're too old.
Mm-hmm.
They got an old
and
team.
Listen, this is not the first time in the last, few to several years that they have had some upsets. And
even the U.S. women's softball team didn't. They won silver, I think, but
silver. Yeah,
they lost to Japan. So I mean, it's changing a little bit. The basketball finals, there's no guarantees. We'll see what happens, but it's going to be interesting. I think Kevin Durant needs to step up. He's become, I think, the all-time leading scorer in Olympic history for U.S. men's basketball. But his legacy's on the line a little bit here.
Yep.
Here's the thing I want to know, though. What is it about the swimming? Has anyone heard
what it is they go in the water and they go back and forth. And the first
Dressel before
wrestling, water wrestling.
Her first album was really good. A little acoustic.
I don't follow the Olympic trials or the swimming or whatever, and obviously he made the team, but this guy kicked ass in the 50-meter freestyle. He got a gold medal and an Olympic record.
Mm-hmm.
And he's won some other medals. So now it's Mark Spitz, Matt Biondi, Michael Phelps, and Caleb Dressel.
Good for him.
The only male swimmers to win 5 gold medals in the same Olympics. I never heard of this guy before now.
No.
Well, how does that happen? Again,
he was fast. He was faster than the other people in the pool.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe he's been winning some world championships.
Well, this is a worldwide stage now, right? I mean, do you normally watch swimming competitions?
No.
Well, that's my point. So then
but when someone comes to the Olympics and win 5 gold medals, you would think they would have a certain level of success.
Something
you
would think. Yeah, I suppose.
Not everybody.
Well, he had one. He just missed his age. I think is what's precluded him from being in the Olympics before. But he's won, top level. He didn't. Yeah, it wasn't like he was a a substitute.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. I've never heard of
You would think that somebody to be this good and win 5 gold medals and be in the company of those guys that you mentioned in that list, that his name would have been around before this.
Yeah, and
heard
I did watch
something about him.
Some of the swimming, not anything that he was in, apparently. I guess I was all about the time, but none of the announcers ever mentioned his name or anything.
Right.
He's only 24 years old. Yeah. So in 2016, he broke the American and U.S. Open records in the 50-yard freestyle. Okay. In the 2016 Summer Olympics, Dressel won his first gold medal as part of the relay team. He was swimming with Phelps, Held, and Nathan Adrian, part of an American team record at that time. And he finished 6th in the 100-meter freestyle. He was young though. In 2016, he was what?
19.
Yeah. So
okay, so he's good. So I just don't know who he is. That's what I was asking.
In the 2017 World Aquatics Championships in Budapest, Dressel won 7 gold medals and set numerous American records. Dressel was named the male swimmer of the meet. He also became the second swimmer to win 7 gold medals in a single world championship after Phelps in 2007.
There you go.
Yeah. All right.
And there
In 2018, he won all 3 of his individual races and won his first relay national title. In the 2019 World Aquatic Championships, he won a gold as part of the men's freestyle relay team. He won a gold in the 50-meter butterfly, and he was the first American to win that event, set a new national and championship record. And and then he broke Michael Phelps' record in the 100-meter butterfly event.
Wow.
Nice. And the next day he won the gold. So yeah, I mean he's good.
He's been it's gotten by you.
Yeah,
some way.
I think swimming gets by. Here's why you don't know him, because he wasn't. He was the 5th, 6th, 4th name. He was still hiding in Michael Phelps' shadow in the last Olympics, or in the 2016 Olympics.
Right.
And then we missed a year, and so now he's in his prime. So, because we missed a year last year, right?
These Olympics were supposed to be last year.
Yeah.
These Olympics, yeah, because the Winter Games are this coming winter.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're usually 2 years apart. So, yeah. So
yeah, I mean, he's 24, so he'll be 28, hopefully, in the next Olympics. And, look,
Actually, no, it'll be 27 because the next Olympics are going to be 3 years.
Oh, that's right. So maybe you see him in 2 more Olympics. Yeah. You never know.
Yeah. 27, 31.
What's his name who tried to make the team Ryan Lochte?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't Bruce Jenner came out for track and field, though, right? He wanted to do the decathlon again this year?
Bruce Jenner does not exist anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry. Caitlin. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But, hey, and she could compete as a female now, but I think she's a little too old for that. So.
Well, you never know. Maybe there'll be the AARP Olympics.
This is true. They could do that.
Has the Olympics been forced into making a decision on... actually, wasn't there
we just had
they said couldn't run?
We just had a weightlifter who was the first transgendered, I hope that's the right term, to compete in an Olympic event.
Yeah, I think I saw that. I did. Yeah. Was that deadlift or whatever that they did?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
Hubbard.
There you go.
Oh, I'm sorry. She wasn't American. It was New Zealand.
Right.
Laurel Hubbard makes Olympic history as a transgender athlete.
Mm-hmm. And she had an old mother too, didn't she?
Wow.
At least I got you to laugh at that one.
I knew something was coming. It cut me a little off guard, but yeah.
She had a cupboard or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Old Lady Hubbard used to.
Old Mother Hubbard. Went to her
well, now it's Mother Hubbard. Before it was Daddy Hubbard.
Daddy Hubbard.
I think, right? I don't know.
I don't know. It was one of them. Something like that.
They look very strong. That's all I know.
Uh-huh.
And good for them.
Absolutely.
And hey, it's a changing world, and
it just keeps.
And this is obviously something that we're going to be dealing with for in the future a lot more. And
this isn't a one-time thing. This will continue now. So
yeah.
So all right. Well, there you go. All right. Anything else you guys got?
God, I hope not.
No, that's it.
I think I'm good. All right. Well, on that note, we'll wrap the show up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching, and for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And, of course, all of our shows are on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at 7:30 Eastern Time. For those of you that want to just listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and Stitcher. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Watch a lot of sports. Watch the baseball now that we're in the 5th month, and teams are starting to make the push for October. Preseason football is coming up too, so you're going to have that ramping up as well. So watch a lot of sports. Watch the rest of the Olympics. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you soon, folks. Take care. Cheers.